What you're going to want to do is, after you've got your gas supply on, you want to come to the back of the machine. There's a control switch here. You have fan, off, and fire. What you're going to want to do is go to fan first, which is down. Let that run 5 to 10 seconds, and then come up to fire. This is where you adjust the temperature. Turn the valve until you get to your desired temperature. I like to start around 200 degrees or so. Once you get to that temperature, then you're going to want to monitor it pretty closely because it's going to fluctuate. So just kind of keep your eye on it for the first 5 or 10 minutes after firing the machine up. There you have it, guys. That's how you energize and operate a tight direct fire propane heater. As you can see, we have our ducting terminating towards the bed to make sure that we get the bed, which is probably going to be your most likely area for the harboring of bed bugs. Get that good and preheated at a good high heat, then we'll move the ductwork to the rest of the rooms as we go through. As you can see, the ductwork is still placed where we have it. So everything so far is going as planned. As you can see, in this particular case, we have a rather heavy, substantial lamp or a metal base sitting on the wood surface. If you start to get a high temperature on this, or it starts to feel really warm to the touch, you may want to set that on the floor so it doesn't leave a ring or it doesn't damage the surface. Likelihood is not high, but there is a possibility it could happen. If you touch this and it's warm to the touch, it'd probably be better to just set it on the ground for safety reasons.
Hey Tom, let me ask you a question about, okay, we have our ducting that's coming out with a lot of heat, and it is aiming at this wood post and some other older furniture. Are there any concerns about that, or what would you keep in mind?
What you always want to keep in mind is the closeness of the ductwork in relation to the actual furniture. If you want at least a 3 to 4 foot difference. Also, you want to also feel the surface temperature and make sure that it's not getting to a point where, or you start to see the finish. If you start to see the finish changing or running or anything like that starts to happen, you're going to want to move your ductwork. Very unlikely to happen. This is very safe, effective, pressurized heat. Very low propensity for damage to furniture or equipment.
You know, Tom, I noticed plants in here. What about things that should be moved or prior to anything? We have
live plants are always going to be a problem because of the simple fact they're alive and you're depleting them.
These are
these plants in this particular case are artificial, but in a case of a live plant, you're going to want to probably move that plant because the heat's going to deplete of chlorophyll, which is going to cause it to, not hold up very well.
Now, also we have this nice TV and the modern flat panel TV. Is any issues with those?
The only issues that you'll ever have with electronics are these stands. And if you get into a really large television and the stand is not substantial, like you have a smaller stand, it's really a good case to either cover this with a heat blanket or to lay it on its back. The only issues that you would have with this particular situation is the stand itself, and the TV may lean.
How about computers and games, PlayStations?
Computers, electronics, anything of that nature, the heat will not damage it. It's better to unplug it because it's going to be trickling electricity even though it's not on. So the best practice is to make sure all your electronics are unplugged before you.
And I guess we can assume things like candles and pharmaceuticals.
Anything wax-based, anything paraffin-based, anything oil-based paintings, things of that nature, you're going to want to secure them, either lay them in your bathtub and cover them with blankets or you're going to want to get them off the wall and out of the structure, because heat will damage anything that's paraffin based or wax based.
65.2. It's not hurting anything, but you know. So here, look at this. That's the temperature right here. Okay, that's not going to hurt anything. Now the 169. Now let's go and we'll get this one, Tom. I want to go over here. Okay. Underneath these pillows, 93.9. Let's check the other side, over on this side.
This is a great tool when it comes to temperature monitoring in real time. Because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you are eliminating any non-lethal cold spots. 108 degrees, and that's on the side of the output. So we are getting close to a lethal temperature at the head of the bed on this side, but we're still low on that side.
Now, what is it here?
What you have in the output on the ground here is 164. So actually coming out, and the surface that it's direct contact with is 164 to 165. So what that's telling me is the heat is actually coming under the bed and circulating back up to the headboard. So that's why this tool is so important in checking your surface temperature. So you have 135 here, which tells me the air is actually circulating under the bed and back over the top as we want. That is the design of why we've got it placed where we've got it placed.
So that's the technician's regular tool that they should have all the time.
You should have one of these if you're effectively doing any heat treatment. You should have this on you every time you enter the structure, because you're going to want to check areas at the legs of furniture and things of this nature to make sure you're gaining lethal temperatures. See, this is what we would call a cold spot. If you were to lift up this chair leg, it's only 111 degrees there.
Well, I see you used the chair to actually hold the ducting.
Yes, that's to keep the ductwork from fluctuating and moving back and forth.
Nice tip.
So what you're going to want to do is, at some point, you're going to want to slide this chair just a little bit to get it off of those stands, so that now you have a lethal temperature. You've eliminated a cold spot. Cold spots are very, very critical in a heat treatment. A digital handheld thermometer is your best friend. Because what you can do is come to, say, this box that's sitting on the ground here. What you're going to want to do is, you're going to want to lift that box up and take a temperature reading underneath that box. It's 111 degrees. So that tells me that's a cold spot. That box